Back in Syracuse as the Crunch gets set for the Rochester Americans. Second straight matchup between the Crunch and the Amerks. Last night, Syracuse picking up a 6-1 win over Rochester to open up the home-and-home series. On Countdown to Crunch Time presented by Supercuts, I'm Luaks Favale with Crunch head coach Ben Groulx. And Ben, last night, like we said, it was a 6-1 win for the Crunch in Rochester. Big matchup to start the weekend against the Amerks. What did you think of the Crunch's performance last night?
Well, I really liked our game in the O-zone. I thought we manufactured a lot of offense. We created a lot of turnovers, and obviously very sharp in front of their net. Like, we had a lot of poise, and you need that. The closer you get to the end of the season, you need your guys to bear down on their chances and to be ready, and I thought we were very ready in front of their net last night.
Yeah, you always, not always, but a lot of the times you talk about being an opportunistic team and that transition game for the Crunch, which we can see fuel a lot of what the Crunch do offensively. Yeah. So there was a handful of the Crunch goals last night came in transition and opportunistic, like you said, in the offensive zone. So encouraging, like you just said, to in terms of heading towards the playoffs. But what did you see in terms of that department?
Well, there's always room for improvement. I think our neutral zone's got to be cleaned up a little bit. With and without the puck, and it's an area we did some good things, but I think we got to be better in neutral zone at recognizing the situation. And but overall, I think it was a good game for us. I thought Ate was pretty good, especially when we were shorthanded. They were in our zone, they were buzzing around, and I thought it was pretty sharp.
Yeah, Ate Tolvanen has been one of the big stories for this Crunch team. Now 3 straight wins for him, and he's, like you said, been pretty sharp. And in terms of other things you always talk about is being ready for opportunities when they're presented, and he's come in and he's played really well. He had the shutout on Wednesday, 1 goal last night against a very high-powered offensive team. So just for him to be ready and jump in with this opportunity that was presented to him, what does that tell you about this, I want to say young kid, but he's 24 years old, so he's not necessarily young, but this rookie goaltender?
Well, like I mentioned early, he came in, and you see right away that he's not a kid. Like, he's a man. He knows how to prepare. He's not intimidated by the stage he's on, and he's ready to play. So he really sees that as an opportunity, and I think he made the best out of it. He's got to clean up certain area of his game, and like anybody else, got to get better. But he's working at it every day, and it's fun for us to see that we have a guy coming in from college. We don't know him. He comes in and he's getting the job done. So at this position, super important position. So it's been a very good story. Yeah,
terrific to see Ate Tolvanen in games that really are important for the Crunch, battling for first place in the North Division. Last night a 6-1 win over the Amerks, and something you had mentioned and was kind of your theme last week or 2 weeks ago was the depth scoring for the Crunch, and last night 6 goals, and certainly scoring up and down the lineup for the Crunch last night. And you got Brady Brassard with a goal, good setup from Otto Sampi, and other guys also contributing to so pretty solid team effort last night.
Yeah, we try to balance our lines and try to have that scoring through the lineup, and I really like what we had last night. Like you mentioned, like we had goals from each line, so it's a good way to succeed. And
the Crunch with a 6-1 victory. Was there a goal that kind of stood out? There were so many different varieties in the transition, the 2-on-1, the great setup and a good backhand by Alex. There were so many different goals. Is there one that stood out for you that kind of is something that you're looking forward into seeing, and how you want to see this team go out offensively?
No doubt about it. Like, it's part of our identity. Like, we work a lot on it, like to bear down. Like, I'm not surprised when I saw Brady Brassard last night with an open net bear down. When I saw Dumont backdoor finishing it, those plays are hard plays, and it's something our players are working on every day. And as you know, Lucas, we're shooting a lot of pucks here before and after practice, and I think it's part of our success, like having that. Those habits in close that make the difference.
Right, you're getting set for the Rochester Americans' second straight day between these two teams in a home-and-home series, wrapping up the second to last weekend of the regular season, and it was another 6-1 win for the Crunch last night. Really strong performance, and you mentioned Brady Brassard's goal, and set up by Otto Sampi. 2 games back for Otto now in his return from Orlando, and a pretty poised play, I guess, in the middle to drop that pass back off. So what have you seen from him in his return to the Crunch?
Well, Soto, I really like Soto's vision, and Soto hockey sense. Soto's a baseball player. Otto hockey sense, and it's for him to play with more confidence. He's got more confidence since back from the East Coast League, and it's for him to play with a little bit more grit. And it takes time. He's a young player, but I'm pleased with what we see since he's back. And it's still every game. We evaluate him, and we want to see if he can be a good fit for us in the playoff.
Crunch are getting set for the Rochester Americans, and maybe getting some reinforcements with Gabriel Fortier joining this team now after his junior season wrapped up. May play tonight, still to be determined, but you had a chance to see him a bit this morning in terms of him getting on the ice. If he's in or here this weekend or moving forward, what do you hope to see from him as he joins the Crunch?
I'd like to see him tonight. It's going to be a game time decision, but I thought he had a decent practice morning. Like he drove from Bécomo to Montreal and then Montreal to Syracuse, so it's been a long ride, a long drive for him. And like I said, he's practiced well this morning. I'll sit down with him, and we really want to see. I know him a little bit. He's a good skater. He's a relentless player on the puck. And I like his energy, and I'd like to see what he can bring to our team until the end of the year, see if he can be a player for us in the playoff.
Crunch are getting set for the Rochester Americans. We're on Countdown to Crunch Time, presented by Supercuts with Crunch head coach Ben Groulx. It was kind of a physical game, the final two periods. We know Rochester certainly can provide that physicality. So what do you expect to see from them in the rematch here tonight?
Same thing. Like they're an older team, and they have players on that team that are known to be physical. And it's part of their identity, and for us, it's good. Like it's going to be our game 11, I believe, tonight against them. And it's always a challenge when you have a young team like we do. It's an opportunity to get better, to get used to that type of hockey, because we're going to have to face that in the playoff. Whether it's Cleveland, Belleville, Roch, maybe Toronto, we're going to face that at one point, and it's for us to get used, be comfortable in those uncomfortable situations against older guys that are playing a certain style of hockey that we're not used, but going to make us better down the road. So I thought we did well last night, and I know we're going to do the same thing here tonight.
Okay, looking forward to it as the Crunch take on the Rochester Americans. This is Crunch head coach Ben Groulx. Ben, thanks for your time and good luck tonight.
All right, thanks.